Alright, then I don't fully remember what it's like to talk to our friend over here. You know, quote-unquote friend. You know, this looks really similar to another thing that happened here. He seems rather confused.
Electrons attached to the neutrons attached to the mesons connected to the proton.
He seems fine, though. He's having a good time. Wow. I just want to see what's up here. No, you know what? I should talk to him first.
They said I was mad! Preposterous! Not an angry bone in my body! Had them all removed! Yo! Hello there! You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing, you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. A little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely.
Is that better?
Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. The flying tortoises were the worst. Would you care for a mentat?
Thanks.
I love mentats. Delicious and smarty. I have all sorts of amazingly science-erific thoughts and ideas when those chalky tablets are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, though. Especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my chassis. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track of where they start and end.
Yeah, this is the big bad guy that we've been told to be afraid of, and who's been sending those robot scorpions after us. He's so terrifying. You're not exactly what I was expecting.
Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? Please extrapolate. What was I supposed to be like? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I.
Why did he steal my brain?
Oh, a variety of reasons. You're something of a homily. Anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your own success, as it were. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition.
Why is that a problem?
I'm not sure, except that I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. I have very good reasons for almost everything I do. Even if I forget them occasionally. Although I feel this one is especially important. Oh, well.
I was curious about some things.
Oh, curiosity. I experience that less now that I know everything. Oh, maybe it was when I found out some unpleasant answers.
I can't fix your monitor, but if you're getting ghost reception, I can fix that.
The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other perceptual impossibilities. Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, just turn that. Good, good, better. Oh, yes, that feels wonderful. This is even better than my afternoon Mentats break.
Can you tell me about your robo-scorpions?
Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after these rather large scorpions kept coming in from the desert, like poisonous frosting. How scary, I thought, but they had survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement as a reward for their tenacity. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking eyes and data-drained computers and acted as bullhorns? Then I made them bigger. Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Or was it mustard? Mustard custard. I miss sugars and salts.
I was curious about some things.
I find things curious as well. Go on.
You don't seem aggressive. Why broadcast threats to the think tank?
Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take Mentats, I can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung. As for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still, served its purpose.
Wait, it sounds like you built the Robo-Scorpions and issued threats to keep the think tank occupied.
Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. Some reason for it. Ethics or, conscience? You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the reasons better than I do.
Everything you told me doesn't add up. Your plan, even your name, Mobius.
Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name, and my new name overwrote the old one. This name's as real as you or I, although I believe your brain expressed similar incredulity at the nature of such an appellation. Someone's been watching too many old-world science fiction movies, it said. I believe it meant me. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is forbidden. As for the name I was born with, like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. It enforces the recursion loop in our perception programming.
You reprogram their names as part of the recursion loop? What, to trap their processors?
Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement.
Poop.
Not an inappropriate word, but still rather harsh. But, yes, I did take some liberties with their programming. It's all right, they don't remember. I certainly didn't until you said trap, and then I said excrement, and then...
As you can see, it's a loop. Why did you trap them?
The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. They would have found a way to disarm it. I suspect I have Plan 9s in place, but I may have coded myself to forget them, just in case. They're probably very dangerous, lethal, or worse. So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan 9s in case the 7s fail.
Klein, Mobius, O's, a circle, 8 an infinity symbol. They're all loops. I get it.
Oh, you figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time and history. All that is left is what's here. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world, here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway. And I am told I was once quiet professional.
Minor detail, but the snake devouring its own tail is Ouroboros, not Ouroboros.
Really? It is so unlike me to make an error in anything I do.
If you lobotomize a think tank, why terrorize them?
Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are the think tank for a reason. That I didn't change. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply deduce what had happened. And when they start deucing it up, then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. Bacteria, finally able to see its host.
But there are other visitors, though. Why am I different?
There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you are the one who dialed back their monitor micromagnifiers.
Don't know what that means, but
You
sure.
were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. And then there was the whole brain fiasco, which forced me to take steps. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle, a uniquity that they had never thought to try in all their countless escape attempts.
Cranial injury from the attack outside Goodsprings.
Yes, very good. I should have mentats in just you instead of the other way around. Mentats. In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had suffered a cranial injury in just the right place, bullets in the head are usually much more fatal. And yours was a light case of bullet headitis. But it was enough for the autodoc in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem. And the brain extraction technology for once worked. That gave the think tank the knowledge its brains couldn't possess. With that knowledge, the procedure can be reversed. If they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial cells into hosts to slip past the radar fence. I'm sure of it. And once they're off the reservation...
Klein said they had the idea to get 3 technologies after your broadcast. Coincidence?
I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with the words astrology, herbal tea, and luck. So watch it,
Hey, luck is
potty
an
mouth.
actual stat in this game.
My threat broadcast is designed to instill and install fear. And along with the emotional download, other data rides the fear carrier wave. It prompted them to focus on retrieving those technologies and bring them to attack me. And coincidentally, pardon my language, all those technologies are needed to put a brain, your brain, back into its skull properly.
What is the purpose of the technologies?
The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha wave frequency thought patterns. The sneaky suit? Why, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrae pulse desensitizer. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was a story once where a band of murderous thugs sought these things. They had them all the time in the story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't stop the think tank either.
Was there any other data transmitted in your threat broadcast?
Yes, my overly aggressive cammed-up broadcast was designed to keep reinforcing the forget, fear, rinse, and repeat program. Oh, and the get me the things to castrate your only possible escape attempt. But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than I could the other visitors. Only so much science can do when you started talking to them. You're really quite difficult to ignore, you know. It's because you're, well, rather intriguing, if you'll forgive an old brain for saying so.
The think tank downloaded the schematics, not the items. They can rebuild them.
Oh, that means my plan is a total failure. That is unfortunate. Oh well, at least I tried.
Curious about some things.
Yes, this is getting interesting. You are just filled with these little slices of curiosity, aren't you?
I don't want to kill him.
Oh, intriguing. I've never been killed before. Although, after that time I got that Well, if there's going to be killing, I defer to your expertise in this matter. How should we begin? Engineering viruses, canceratic beams, atomics, electrocutioning? Or should I summon my minions? Yes, my minions.
What minions?
Whoa, have they not constructed themselves yet? That's a bit premature of me. The Robo-Scorpions, of course. They can assemble themselves from floor panels and parts scattered about. Quite inventive. Never really know when they might suddenly appear. Minions. Minion. Oh, yes.
Oh, now they're aggressive. Hold on. I want to reload that because I don't actually want to be aggressive with him. There's a way to do this more peacefully. And I just need to find the correct way to talk to him, I think. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. I think I need to do this.
Oh, well, that's good. Were we supposed to fight? I certainly don't feel violent, but, well, these contraptions make it hard to tell.
Okay, and now the conversation will proceed basically as it did before, which I'll just skip through. Okay, so I've gotten through his dialogue, and
Indeed.
I can say goodbye and not kill him.
Chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
So if you look, are these? I think those are equations on the floor. Our brain is in here somewhere. Oh. Oh. Hi.
finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been? Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again?
Only a couple of times. Why does my brain sound so masculine?
Ah, well, as to that, you'd be surprised how hard a feminine-sounding voice modulator is to find in the Forbidden Zone. It's not as though brain-sustaining life support tanks grow on trees. I had to take what I could get.
Are you my brain?
Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
It's no need to be sarcastic. Meeting your own brain is a slightly odd event.
Yes, well, believe me, the opposite is equally true. Good Lord, have you bathed at all since they pulled me out of you?
What about you? The tank isn't exactly looking springtime fresh.
Well, that's a completely different matter. The tank isn't biological. It's not the same at all.
Why are you such a dick?
Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment?
Oh, come on, that stuff's fun. Let's see. Of course you're responsible. You're my brain.
I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic in our little partnership. All those feelings that motivate you, that sense of righteousness and that rush you get when you help someone, do you know where those come from? Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system, I can see how foolish your motives are.
But you're the source of those glands, unless you're arguing that my thyroid is to blame.
Well, look, it's all a very complex system of biofeedback and other things I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Admit it, you're just as glandular as I am.
Oh, all right. Perhaps I am, but at least I'm logical about it.
Don't you want to be reunited? Thought you'd be happy to get back in my head. Well, maybe not yet. How the hell did Mobius get a hold of my brain?
After the think tank extracted me from your skull, they fell to bickering amongst themselves. I'm sad to say we were quite forgotten about. Dr. Mobius saw an opportunity to gain some leverage and had me spirited away to his dome.
How do you manage that?
I don't know. I'm afraid the trauma of our separation rendered me quite insensate. I didn't come around until I was safely ensconced in this tank. I'm quite sure whatever he did was highly scientific, though.
Seems like a pretty unlikely coincidence.
Hardly. Dr. Mobius keeps a close optical sensor on the goings-on at the think tank. As soon as he saw the opportunity, he took it.
Well, that answers that. On to something else.
Well, as long as your curiosity is satisfied.
Don't you want to be reunited? Thought you'd be happy to get back into my head.
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
I can see your point. What can I do to make this a fair compromise?
If you want me back, we need to establish some ground rules. First, showers! Second, regular checkups. Regular, mind you, and from a reputable doctor. That Julie Farkas woman, for example, she seems to know a thing or two. Third, you need to listen to me more than your hormonal choir and genitalian orchestra. Promise me that, and you've got a deal.
Fine.
Really? I didn't expect you to actually agree to that. I'm afraid that was a bit of a bluff, really. I'm not going with you.
So what, you'd rather just stay here, never leaving that tank of whatever that stuff is?
Well, certainly there might be some things I miss about being ambulatory. We have seen some incredible sights, haven't we? Jason Bright and his followers launching into the vast unknown. Helios 1 coming back online. But still, given the tremendous, potentially life-ending peril that went along with those, yes, I'd rather stay here.
Isn't it just as true that you only feel this way because you're lacking those hormones?
I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
So we're at an impasse. You can't feel what I feel and I can't think the way you think.
Indeed, quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it?
I think we have to trust each other and acknowledge that we aren't complete if we're separated.
I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us.
So what do you say, Brain? Join me for some more wild adventures?
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
What, they promised to put us back together once I did what they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
You're part of me. I know you don't want to let that happen any more than I do.
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
If the think tank won't hold up their end of the bargain, we'll make them. Or I'll handle the brains, you stay here. Okay. If the think tank won't hold up their end of the bargain, we'll make them. Let's go.
Right. Look out, think tank. This brain is coming out of its jar. I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Klein will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and body reunited.
So my brain is actually in my inventory. It's not actually, in my head. It's just as long as the brain and the body are located in the same area, that still counts to get past the passive zone thing. Anyway, we got our brain back.
Oh, I see you and your brain reached a compromise. How pleasant. I hypothesized after the indignant frequencies my receptors had recepted, such a partnership-based conclusion would be low on the likely scale.
My brain told me the think tank needs to be stopped. Can you help?
If I recall, I had a plan that was working, whatever it was. I don't think it reached fruition. I would recall fruit if it had happened. I wasn't trying to kill them, just keep them out of trouble. What was that plan? Blast. I probably wrote it down on the floor somewhere.
What was the plan you had?
Something ingenious and needlessly complicated, I expect. I may have already told you and forgotten it. I forgot I had forgotten pencils until one day I found one. Spent days studying its purpose before my memory circuit kicked in. Felt quite silly.
Any tactics I could use to attack them? Oh, anything I could do to stop them that doesn't require violence.
Well, you could try and appeal to their humanity. That's a tired cliche. And really, when they were humans, they weren't very good humans.
I'd like to make the effort.
Well, there's many things they have forgotten, sitting in their bowls. Friendship, the thrill of discovery, love, masturbation, the usual. Much like your brain, I am certain there is something you can spark within each of them. Memories, hormones. A wise man once said, "The eyes do more than see. Make them see, if you can. Or, if not, you can always make them succumb to fear." It certainly worked for me, for a time. Then you came along, and bravery and/or desperation trumped that little idea. Back to the drawing board, I suppose. Or is this the end? Hard to tell.
Scare them? How?
Oh, tell them I'm still alive. We had a nice chat, and we agree on a few things. That's true, isn't it? Or you could kill me and lie about it. Either way, it would be interesting. And if you are partial to lying and deception, well, you could tell them a ludicrous lie. The more over the top, the better. That's my experience. They're more than a little gullible. Better make it convincing, though, or it'll be the dissection table and vivisectors for you. And if you speak of me, please try and make me look good. I am Dr. Mobius, after all, not some lab assistant teacher's aide.
Okay. Goodbye. Okay, so after all of that, we can go back to the think tank. But I do have another quest to do. And I'd like to finish that before I finish the main part of this quest. There's also another thing that I need to do that I almost completely forgot about. I need to find some things to make a robot dog. I know that sounds random, but it's something that I need to do. So I will try to do that.